Thank you everyone for joining us and good evening. This event was really inspired by the students in our career boot camps. They wanted exposure to IT professionals, people bringing value and leaders in IT in the local Cincinnati IT community. And it's something we're proud to be a part of. And our hope is to ask the questions that give you fresh insight into this person's IT journey. At Max, we're lifelong learners and we love to go beyond the basics and get to know the person and the people that are a part of our group. And tonight we welcome Michael Richardson, the tech lead at Kroger Digital, board member of the Cincinnati Circuit, and really someone who is forging the IT community in Cincinnati. And if you've not been invited to Tea and Tech or been a part of the Cincinnati Software Craftsmanship Group, you're missing out on great conversations from developers and like IT minds. So I would like to welcome Michael Richardson from Kroger Digital and thank Denise Bartik and Max Technical Training for giving us the opportunity to do this Max All Access. So Michael, how are you doing this evening? And thank you for being with us.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you, Denise and Max. And yeah, just looking forward to talking and happy to see everyone. So thank you for showing up.
Thank you very much. And for our guests who are not familiar with the, I guess, technology side of Kroger, you think of groceries and produce and aisles. And so tell us about your role at Kroger Digital and what that means for the company. What is the digital side of Kroger on this, this grocery, experience? What are you guys working on?
Certainly, yeah. So I, like you say, I'm part of Kroger Technology, and specifically the part that used to be called digital. Now we call it customer tech, but a lot of times we still refer to it as digital just because that's fun. But our portion is focused on the customer-facing parts of Kroger. The rest of Kroger Tech is largely associate-facing or back-end, something like that. But we handled the customer-facing banner app, Kroger.com, FredMeyer.com, the mobile apps, both iOS and Android, and then a couple other assorted items in there as it makes sense. The organization has been around 7 or 10 years. I've been with the organization for about 4 years now, doing a variety of things, and it's been great. So that's what we do. That's how we operate. And I'm sure later we'll talk more about some of the details around the way we do business.
So when you see a change in experience, from sitting in the cart, wheeling through aisles with your mom, and you're putting groceries into the cart and pushing it around to now you can sit in your car outside of the building and wait for them to load the groceries in for you. What does that kind of transition mean to the technology and your role inside of Kroger?
So obviously, this pandemic has drastically accelerated the move to e-commerce in grocery. And there's a lot of amazing things happening. There's a lot of unique challenges for grocery e-commerce. So so for most e-commerce, your basket size, essentially a single order, is going to be a few items, maybe up to a dozen if you're lucky. But for Kroger, our basket size is much larger on an average basis, as you would imagine for a grocery store. And so that means that customers, if we don't make it easier for the customer, it takes them a lot longer to build their basket. And we have done a lot in that way to make it easy and fast for a customer to build that basket and get on with their life. I'll be honest, I really do still enjoy going to the grocery store a lot of times. Something my kids and I enjoy doing, finding things that we haven't tried before and things like that. And we're working to make that to echo that experience online through our e-commerce. So speed, efficiency, and also discoverability are parts of that we're really focused on creating. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is that you're developing code and you're looking at these lines of code and you're thinking of things on a technology level, but here you are as a person walking through the store and realizing how things can be better, how that cart experience can be better, and you talk about sharing that experience with your family. So you're really picking things up as you go as a
Mm-hmm.
customer experiencing what's happening in person and then turning it into a digital experience. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And so, there are opportunities to make sure that people don't forget items that they might have intended to purchase that were, and, you know, just making that experience as seamless as possible for the customer. And taking away some of the parts of the grocery store that they don't want to deal with, because for a lot of people with young kids, it can be a real challenge to go through the grocery store. So if they can make that shopping list, just as they have a few minutes here and there, and then just go pick it up, that makes their life a whole lot easier.
I mean, is it kind of odd for you to be working for a part of the company that is really reducing the grocery experience and turning it into something that is just pull up, park, get your groceries in the car and go? You're rewarding people with the efficiency and technology, but at the same time, do you think it also puts that experience at risk?
Well, so I think what we're seeing from a lot of customers is that they prefer a multimodal experience. And sometimes they want to do pickup, and sometimes they want to do delivery, and sometimes they want to come in the store. And so they may not be making that in-store trip every time now. They're just doing it when they want that part of the experience.
Absolutely. So it sounds like things have really been changing over years and months. And how has your role changed since the first day you arrived at Kroger to today? What have you seen?
So when I first started at Kroger, I joined the recipes team, and I was on a front end team, and there were we were one of the first um, teams to launch our new seamless experience, it was called, and that was our React based experience. And so we got that pushed out, and that was really interesting. I was learning a lot. And when I came into Kroger, there was a lot of stuff I didn't know, and so I had to get up to speed super fast. I've actually bounced around um, a bunch since I came to Kroger. So I started out on recipes, and then I moved off to a back end team called personalization, working with services and databases and that kind of thing. Then moved back on to recipes as the tech lead, and then our team transformed into to create a new product that actually didn't even see the light of day, sadly, because of just realigning priorities. And then at that point, our team got split up, and I got shuffled onto SEO. And I wasn't sure what to think of that in the beginning, but since I've moved on to the team, I've just really loved the experience. It's great to make that search engine. For anyone who doesn't know it, SEO stands for search engine optimization, and our goal is to create a great experience for Kroger's customers when they're using search engines like Google, Bing, etc., or even for Kroger not Kroger customers, so that they can discover us more easily.
It sounds like you went through a lot of transitions as this company was learning what it needed to do for its customers.
Exactly.
So when times were the toughest, well, and you had to take on new things that maybe you didn't know immediately, what was your plan to get through it?
So there's a phrase I've heard a couple times, and I first heard it from one of my good friend coworkers, and it was, some people like to look to the other side and see the grass is greener over there, and sometimes the more productive and frankly satisfying thing is to water the grass where you are right now. And so there is every organization, every team, every person has an opportunity to improve. There's capability to improve there. And taking advantage of that, making that, really being an actor for positive change in those areas is hugely valuable, and really, it's tremendously satisfying as well.
And that's awesome. And I hate asking the question because I feel like we throw the word pandemic into things just to get somebody's interesting response. But
Mhm.
I'm curious because in this virtual world, what if you worked on doing better? We're now in virtual meetings, we've got to look at the way we have our body language. What have you saw as an IT professional that you've had to work on to be better in the virtual world in order to be successful?
So I can apply this both to, say, my work life and my professional life, and I can cover those kind of independently to some extent. So at work, I am an in-person kind of person. I really do enjoy those interpersonal interactions. I enjoy connecting with people, all of those kind of things. And so a lot of things had to change as a result of the pandemic. I couldn't do that anymore. So it's been important for me to continue to reach out through direct message to some of those colleagues that I would more often see just in the hallways and say, hey, what's up? How are you doing? What's up with your family? To just make that opportunity to send a message and say, hey, I know we haven't chatted in a while, but what's going on? It's been an opportunity to really think about how we communicate and how we can more effectively connect with people through video calls. What appreciating the value of video on top of audio, but also appreciating that some people need that time to or aren't in a good position to turn on the video. So understanding that balance. So that brings me to some of the personal life stuff or my organizing work. We had never done a virtual software craftsmanship. And so one of the things that I've worked on doing better is just how do we create amazing virtual events? And I think we've had a tremendous amount of success with that through software craftsmanship and also through TN Tech. I love that TN Tech has kept a lot of friends and new friends in contact and made some really incredible connections over the course. I think it's been almost a year that I've been doing that. So pretty excited about how what that's been able to accomplish.
So, when you look at your career to this point, and what I always find is very interesting is in tech, we don't talk a lot about the soft skills or emotional intelligence, the people side of tech. I think at times we can get in the habit of treating people like tech,
Right.
right?
Right.
So when you look at your career to this point, how much success was tech and how much was people? Because your knowledge is great and what you're capable of is fantastic. But how much of that blend requires understanding people and the emotional intelligence to be successful in roles in IT? Can you talk to me about that?
Absolutely. So I would say that both are critical, but and the balance of what is most heavily important changes over time. When you first get into tech, you have to have those technical skills underpinnings that that in order to even get in the door, to have the context to be able to have the conversations, especially as a developer, at least. Now, as your career is on, you have to continually build on those technical skills, but people skills, social skills become a much more important part as you move along. So at this point in my career, the vast majority of what I do is going to be feeding into others. It's not going to be myself just as writing code as an individual contributor, but mentoring and coaching and guiding and helping others to grow themselves, take on more leadership opportunities, and also, work with a team and work between others to make sure that they're connecting properly.
And it's awesome that you say that, because you obviously have my notes. But if there's an individual that hasn't experienced that yet and they have an interest in IT, if you were to write a note to that person and leave it at their seat for when they decide how they learn about their opportunity in IT, what would you say to that person?
So I actually posted about this recently on LinkedIn, and I think that just the absolute focus on continual improvement, the willing to make yourself just a little uncomfortable every day. And there's this thing, 1% better every day makes you like 37 times better at the end of the year. I think that's a little unrealistic, right? But let's say we get 1% better every week. After like 2 years, I think it's almost 3 times better. Think about that. That's still an incredible number if you want to, you know, really, if you're truly making that 1% improvement every single week, think about what you can accomplish.
Is there a difference between looking at that percentage and being better? I feel like the IT community has something unique about it, that people want to be better because being better is just a part of what we do in IT, versus this is a job and they pay me to be better. Do you sense a difference in those two types of being better when you talk about this?
Yeah, I mean, look, they're intertwined. Yes, we all want to be better paid, right? I think that's what you're referring to, but we also want to be better for, because it feels good to deliver. It feels good to deliver great code and to deliver for your coworkers as well. And just to have that feeling like, yeah, I delivered for my team and I really helped out in this scenario.
It's a different feeling, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
So, where did the epicenter of your IT mind start? I'm always curious with the people that we talk to. When did you figure out IT was for you and got comfortable in this path that you said, I'm home now? So, when did that start for you?
I've always enjoyed computers. I've always been fairly technical. You know, I was the guy, oh, your computer's messed up. I'll help you reformat and fix it up and that kind of thing. Um, but, I kind of fell into it. Actually, I'm going to work ahead of you here. Like, um, so I was doing statistical programming when I got out of college. I actually went to school for mathematics and got a degree with a focus in statistics, because that was the only thing that was something I could get a degree in quickly, and I could actually get a job doing something in that area. And so I discovered I loved statistics, but then I discovered that I really loved statistics programming. And as I was doing some of that, I started doing some stuff with VBA, and I started to tinker with SQL and learn things like that. And then I suddenly got fired, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. And so I kind of was trying to figure out, what do I do from here? What does my life look like after this point? And I discovered that I really enjoyed working with code. And my brother encouraged me in that, because he'd been a software developer for several years at that point. And so I had an opportunity to really learn a lot and build up this project, and just jumped into that. It was 3 months just heads down and of hard work, and it was an incredible learning experience. the whole time, and that's kind of and where I started.
Did you pursue any official education in the area?
In computer science or computer engineering, not really. No, it was all self-taught or community taught, as I enjoy. That's a phrase that's been making the rounds recently.
I love those terms they make up for the people that don't follow the path that they have set
Exactly,
forward.
non-traditional.
Yeah, yeah. So along your way, then, who was the professional that you can think of that had the greatest impact on your path? Somebody that really said, "I'm invested in you because I see you're invested in this." Tell me about that.
It would have to be my brother. I mean, I wouldn't be here if he hadn't encouraged me and helped me out on that, and really fed me the opportunity to learn how to write software. So that he he's still a developer to this day, and actually there was a period of time when we worked at the same job, and that was pretty amazing getting
That's
to
awesome.
work with him.
That's awesome. Did you guys work on the same project?
Sometimes we were usually on different projects, but we got an opportunity to work together enough.
Was there, it's funny, some of the worst jobs I've ever had in my life, as I look back at what I do now, you could look back at a serving job 10, 15, 20 years
Hmm.
ago and be like, I learned some amazing things about customer experience during that. Was there a worst job you've ever had on your journey that you're super surprised you learned something from it that applies now?
So there's a couple of things I can bring up. So probably the worst job I had was the one I got fired from. And it ended up turning into manual QA, taking screenshots all day, and then pasting them into a Word doc. And I can't tell you that that was really satisfying and enjoyable. So that's that was I would say that, but then also the at some periods in another job, never at Kroger, but I had a really bad manager, and just terribly micromanaging and not really good at listening to concerns, or just generally not a good manager. And that was one of the more difficult parts of my career. So definitely that's something to watch out for, is pay attention to whether your manager's helping you out or they're hurting your career, or what they're doing. That's
When you
honestly one of the reasons I left that company. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. Leadership, especially in IT, you work so closely with other people. You really want to be surrounded by people that have your best interest in mind, and that's not always the case in the business community.
Hmm.
Some of those people that surround you are people that have inspired you along your journey. Oh,
Hmm.
are there professionals? Are there things you notice about the people like? Some of the individuals on with us may be asking, how do I identify that person that can help me, that's really interested in what I can do in this field? So, how are you inspired by the professionals you get to work with? Is there something that you see that says, you know what? Yeah, I'll follow you along this way because I really believe you have my best interest in mind. How do we help the people with us kind of identify those situations?
So, sorry, there was a few different things I want to unpack there. Um, so, I'm inspired by the people around me in a whole bunch of different ways, and I think one of the most important things to recognize is that everyone has a skill. I have something to learn from everyone, and there's this great concept. I'll have to find the blog post, but there's this idea associated with managers, but you can apply it to mentors, or however you want to refer to it, of building a Voltron. The idea that no one person is going to, or manager is going to satisfy all the needs that you have. One might be great at coaching. One might be great at career advancement. One might be good at teaching you public speaking. But if you can reach out and build that Voltron of managers or mentors, or the people you connect with. And some of them may be great in that one area and not so great in the other areas. And that's okay. You can learn from them where their strengths are, and lean into those strengths. And that's been hugely helpful for me, is picking that up and say, I really am impressed by that person's capabilities in this area, and I want to learn what they have to teach.
And when you're done with your IT journey and learning from these people, what do you want to look back and say about it? What, like, and this has been on my mind, and I know other people have kind of talked to me about this, but at the end of this journey, what do you want to look back and say?
I would, definitely that I encourage them, that I help them learn, that I help them connect with others and be a part of the community, that I provided valuable guidance on their career path, and that played a small part of their success.
So, what would you say the most underestimated skill an IT professional can have? Because I feel like we get wrapped up in these technical capabilities because IT will send you in that direction. But then we
Hmm.
miss the people. We start treating people like software, expecting it to behave on our every command whenever we command it. What do you think the most underestimated skill an IT professional can have is?
So I was thinking about this question, and something really interesting came to mind. I think it might be marketing.
Ooh,
So to be clear, different things are underestimated by different people. So some people may underestimate technical side, some people may underestimate the people side, but I think marketing might be one that doesn't come up as much. So I follow this guy Patrick McKenzie, and I think he's got really brilliant things to say about tech and its intersection with business and all of these kind of things. And he tweeted once that a huge part of his success is that he's better at writing code than 99% of marketers. And he's better at marketing than 99% of developers. And the intersection of those two has created incredible success for him in his career.
a lot of opportunity at that
Exactly.
intersection.
Yes.
So again, this is, I think this is the point that we're trying to get across here with a lot of these questions, and that is technology is very technology, but people are still people. Don't
Yes.
forget the people drive the technology still at this point until we have more robots. But for right now, you should still master being able to craft a conversation with the people that are making the decisions in business acumen that can serve you well in your role. But don't forget, a lot of IT is very much human.
Absolutely. And really will play, as we were saying earlier, an increasingly important role as you move along in your career. If I may,
Yeah.
um, when I first started in software development, I felt really behind. I felt like I had to run at full, because I didn't get started in programming until I was 30, and so I felt, how can I get where I need to be? And I felt I just had to run to try to catch up with people who had been doing this for 10 years already. And what I didn't realize is that I had gained experience from those 10 years of doing other things that a lot of other people had not gained. And so things like working in retail for years taught me how to deal with customers, taught me how to satisfy an upset customer, things like that. And those tiny little improvements that you learn in those interactions make such a difference when you are working with people in your day job, and you might not realize how much that applies.
What does that tell you about people? When I think about the boot camps, when you said retail, what does that tell you about people that are mothers returning to the workforce with the way they look at things, or people in the service industry that are used to having conversations at the table's edge? What kind of value do those people bring coming from those trenches? And once they know the technology, what can they bring to your team?
That's one of the things that I love about non-traditional software developers, however you want to call it, um, self-taught, where they bring a new perspective. They bring that capability to re-examine some of the assumptions that you might have about software should work, for one thing, because in the true enablement of a software development team, the software developers aren't just writing code, they're kind of creating the product as they're doing that. You may think that it's all fleshed out when the requirements are given from the product manager, but there's still so many little details that you have to work through to actually implement that software. And so the software developers are a huge part of the requirements process and designing that implementation.
It sounds like now, with this non-traditional mix of individuals that have unique backgrounds, it sounds like there's a talent pool of people that have an understanding and a capability of relating to those that you're trying to provide technical solutions for. And that's a
Absolutely.
really interesting mix, and their capabilities to say, hey, I know what it's like to be this person and deal with this. And if you're just living in the code and in the technical, you're kind of missing some of that experience, right? There's
Absolutely.
the marketing.
Yes. Yes. Half of marketing is just listening.
Eh, More than half, hopefully, is
Yes.
is listening. We are at 6:34. I'm going to occupy until 6:45 and then hit our open Q&A and social time. So now's the fun part that I get to expose everyone to. So Michael, we're going to go into some fun personal tech, non-tech questions. Michael, are you a Apple or an Android person?
I'm Android, and I used to believe that iPhones were ridiculous, so expensive. I've I've come over the past few years to appreciate what Apple offers, but I still enjoy my Android phone.
Perfect. Do you it's not on the list, but I have to ask because I stuck Matt Godstead from 8451 with it. Do you store your passwords in Google?
I use LastPass.
Okay.
I
There
that's
you go.
that's I
As
and
far
I
as you're willing to
high
go.
oh so no I strongly recommend that everyone use a password manager. I think LastPass is good. I'm actually looking at switching to 1Password for, I don't know, various reasons. I want to check it out, but you gotta, if you're in tech, and even if you're not, you gotta be using a password manager. That's just the way it needs to be.
On a personal side, are you a cat person or a dog person, and do you have pets?
I am a dog person. My daughter has a dog. I am not personally interested in caring for pets because they take a lot of time and money, and I have other things I'd rather spend that on right now.
That's a
I
tough
appreciate,
that's a tough debug, Michael.
yeah, yes. So I think I might get a dog when I retire or something along those lines.
And if and this is one of my favorite questions. You can choose any one person, alive or past, to have over for dinner, and you get to choose what you make. Who are you having, and what are you serving?
So I didn't think about Alive or Dead, but the one that came to mind last night, and this may just because it was at the top of my head, but Scott Hanselman, I think would be awesome to have over for dinner.
What are you making for
And
him?
I think we should have tacos because I think he's a guy who likes tacos. And tacos are amazing.
Tacos are amazing. Who can be mad at tacos? That's always a good
Exactly.
spot.
Yes.
So, Michael, what was your first car? What's the first automobile that was placed into your life? What was your first vehicle?
My first car was a 1988 Chevy Cavalier Z24 convertible.
Ooh.
It was a gift from my grandpa. He'd used it for a while, and he decided it was time to pass it on. And I very much appreciated that car. It was super valuable in my life at that time, and I learned a lot driving that car and working on that car because it certainly needed some repairs frequently.
I get really jealous of baseball players because they have walk-up music. It just seems such a fancy and incredible thing. And I'm always curious to ask people, because there's a part of me that wants to throw a boombox on my shoulders. But if a song played, an intro song played every time you entered a room, like walk-up music, what would that song be?
You know, I don't listen to a ton of music, and so I was trying to ponder this question, and actually asked my daughter what she thought. Hey, if I had intro music, what would it be?
Right.
And I thought she had a really great response. We've recently been listening to the Hamilton soundtrack a lot, and I think that some of those songs would be incredible as intro music.
And if anybody on with us has never tried it, get your phone out and just start walking into rooms and start playing a song on your Spotify or Pandora or otherwise. I highly recommend it. And let's see what
Some
vibes
little
for you.
Bluetooth speaker or something.
Absolutely. I do. Like, I have walk-up music to bat. Like, I want walk-up music into a sales meeting. Like, I should be announced.
There you go.
I'm being,
or into the kitchen.
real.
Like,
What'd you say?
let's do this.
Yes.
Tacos tonight.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't want to be.
And so, I love that question. And so when you're not working, when you're not leading the IT community or walking into a room to a fantastic song, what are you catching on Netflix right now? What's your go-to?
So this one is interesting as well because I very rarely watch television on my own. There's this concept that I picked up from a speaker, a developer speaker that I really respect, Corey House. He talks about multi-threading your life. And he talks, for instance, he talks about shoveling the snow while listening to a podcast. And so for me, I don't really, unless I just need that time, that downtime, typically if I'm going to take that downtime, I'm going to use it for something else. And one of those things is I like to spend it with my children, with my kids. So we're watching shows together. I don't really have shows to a large extent that I watch myself, but I do that with my kids. And so my son and I, we just recently finished The Mandalorian.
Oh.
I think the three of us might start on WandaVision here. It's pretty soon because my daughter's a huge Marvel fan. Yes, so looking forward to that.
Are they Marvel and comic fans because they've gravitated, or have you been influential?
No, they've just been interested. I like it. I'm not a super fan. My daughter's a Marvel super fan. She's watched all the movies many times over, but not comic books specifically, just the movies. So definitely.
It's a great experience to share with your kids. You really get to pick and choose the characters, the movies, the shows, and it's wonderful to share. And I think you're right on it. There's a lot of us that it's hard to get onto one show or another that we really have to devote a lot of time to, especially as busy as you are in the IT community. So what I love, and we're on a virtual right now, and I can see the as I call it, the Brady Bunch window of characters that have joined us, from Tom to Julie to Dana to Kevin. Have you had a funny moment in virtual meetings in the last year or so since the pandemic? Has there been something that stands out to you that is just an amusing virtual experience? I love these stories.
I don't know if I have anything, trying to think anything particularly good, but the other day, um, there was a moment where my manager said, "Yeah, we listened to our developers here," and then I tried to talk, but I was on mute, and so we all thought that was pretty humorous.
We had a birthday at Max, and I didn't realize my dogs were in the garage, and I started singing happy birthday, and one of my
And they
dogs started
joined in.
howling along with me. And so that was one of the moments that I've had recently. If you're gonna pick a place to eat right now in Cincinnati, where are you going?
Gosh, there's so
There's a
many
lot of
good
good
restaurants,
food.
and I hope they're all still around after everything opens back up. Last night I had some bridges from Northside, which is an amazing Nepali place. Anything with any ethnic restaurant with a lot of flavor and just, you know, I love variety. I love pho. So many good ethnic foods that are in, and so many good ethnic restaurants in Cincinnati. I really think Cincinnati has amazing restaurants. It's hard. You can't just pick one.
You like the adventure and the new experience, I
It's
guess we could say.
true. I like to, when we used to go to lunch in the office, I tried to go somewhere new every day almost.
So if right now I held up my hand and I said, in my hand, I have a ticket for a vacation to anywhere, and you can take anyone. Your only response that you cannot use is 2 tickets to paradise because Eddie Money already has that. So if I have a ticket in my hand for a vacation, where are you going?
It would have to be Europe, I think. I kind of have always been super interested, particularly since I took AP European history in high school, and just really wanted to see some of the historical areas there. Also, learning German was some a part of my path as well. Not that I still know it very well, but I think I could make it up as I go along. So it'd be nice to visit Germany too.
So if somebody made a movie about you, because we've got a few minutes left before we open to Q&A. So for everybody that's joining us, Tom, Julie, Dana, Kevin, please get your questions ready. Don't let me down. We want to make this engaging and fun, and hopefully you carry along with it. Dana, I see you. Get your question ready. So if a movie is being made about you, who do you pick to play you?
Gosh.
Tom Cruise is acceptable.
I was actually thinking I was actually thinking Tom Hanks, to be
There
honest.
you go.
The
There you
man is
go.
just so wonderful and kind, and so many good roles. He's tough to beat, right? I mean, how
I,
could
I I think you're on the money on that one. Now I'm gonna have to bring Kevin Newkirk. Kevin is the boot camp success specialist at Max, and he is also a musician that is very involved in the musical community in Cincinnati. And my last question for Michael at 6:45 is: you can see any musician, any band, live in concert. Who you going to see?
That's
um
such a tough question, man.
No, it's not.
There's so many of them.
so again, I have a weird relationship with music, and I don't know. So honestly, I'd probably more go to uh, theater or musical theater than I would go to a concert. Though I remember when I first started listening to music in 1998, when I was 16, I remember being extremely sad that Kurt Cobain was dead. And so if you want to talk living or dead, I think it would be fun to go to a Nirvana concert.
Nirvana live in concert, Seattle original
That would be
grunge
pretty amazing.
before they made their name.
Yeah,
Right.
that would be pretty incredible.
That would probably be the show. Kevin, do you have any input on the live Nirvana in Seattle prior to making it? Is that acceptable for you?
That's acceptable. I was not expecting that, Michael. I was not expecting Nirvana from you. For me,
Full
man,
of surprises.
I would really love to see the Beatles late 60s, like towards the end of their touring career.
Mm-hmm.
Might have been before like 67 or 68 maybe. But oh, that would be just phenomenal.
Well,
Incredible,
let's use this to jump into our open conversation time. Dana, who you going to see and why? Who do you want to see? It doesn't matter, alive or dead. Who?
Oh, I'm going with Kevin. I'm picking the Beatles.
Yeah.
I saw her head nodding. I was curious. I thought there might be something there. Julie, who you going to see? Who's your pick?
Something weird. I'd actually pick Elvis. I would like to see Elvis
Oh,
live.
that would be good.
Ooh.
That would be good.
Tom,
I'd go with you, Julie. Party it up at an Elvis concert.
Tom, who you going to see?
Oh, I'd go with original Van Halen again since they died recently because I saw them years ago and it was great.
Give me
Here
some
in
big
Vegas.
hair. Sarucci, I see you next on my panel. I feel like this is a great discussion and we've got at least 12 minutes to talk about this. Sarucci, who you going to see? You can pick any artist at any time to see live.
I would like to go with Kevin. Beatles.
Oh, we got another Beatles. Selena, who you going to see? What's your pick? You're muted. There you go.
I think I would go to see Led Zeppelin.
Ooh,
That's
Zeppelin.
probably my second or third. Yeah.
Tyler, who do you have? Tyler, you're up next. Who you going to see?
I was gonna say Zeppelin, but now I think probably Fleetwood Mac.
Ooh, there's another one. That's an interesting curveball. William, do you want to add to this list of desired musical experiences?
Yes, I would go see the Clash.
Ooh. All right, and now we've got Monroe Kimmel. Monroe, who you going to see?
I would probably see My Chemical Romance.
Okay. And Annette, I know you're going to give us something very unique. Annette, and that is the career services advisor and the career advisor at Max Technical Training. And I'm very curious as to her response. Annette, who are you going to see?
Well, since I've heard your dog sing already, I'm probably going to go to see the Doobie Brothers.
The Doobie Brothers. Nice. That actually surprised me a bit. Randy, I'm going to work I got 5 more people. Randy, who you going to see?
Even though I'm a rock and roll fan, no doubt, but only because I can't see any video, I'd see Mozart perform. I think that would be absolutely fantastic.
Oh, wow. I like that answer. Great answer. Derek?
I think I'd have to go with AC/DC with Bon Scott as the lead singer.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Nice.
That would in Australia.
Oh, wow. We're getting detailed. Andrea Davis, who are you going to go see? If you want to unmute, you can go ahead. Who would you like to see?
I think I would go see Godsmack.
Wow. Okay. I like that. Matthew?
Maybe one of 9 Inch Nails live shows.
I think live shows are fantastic. If you've not seen somebody live, I'm not sure you actually know how they can play. Will Thomas, who are you going to see?
Jimi Hendrix.
Ooh, now that I absolutely love. I think that would be a fantastic show.
That's my number 2 for sure.
So we are about 9 minutes from the close of our hour, and we have had an excellent guest. Michael, you've been fantastic, and we have an opportunity for open questions. So this is kind of our last 15-minute social time. If anyone has any questions about Michael's IT journey, how he found Kroger, Derek, you got your hand up. Go ahead and unmute and tell me what you got for me.
I have two questions, kind of. So one is, I know that these soft skills thing is huge in tech now, and everybody's pushing the soft skill stuff. But I mean, honestly, I mean, what would you pick? Would you pick to choose to teach someone soft skills, or would you pick to choose to teach someone tech?
Hey, Derek, can I make sure I understand your question before we send it over to Michael? Because obviously both of these things are important, and you're gonna need both of them, period. I feel like I want to understand. I think there was a value to the just tech part of things about 10 years ago, and then things changed where you couldn't have your face down in your keyboard and your monitor anymore and sit in a dark room, and now you had to interact with people. I think there, am I covering that question for you correctly if I'm asking it that way? What has been this transition and what's required of you?
Yeah, and so which one do you personally, I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that, give their feed on which of the two do you think is, like, if they're both at a moderately, if you have two people and, one person is 5% better at tech than they are at people skills, and the other person is, 5% better at people skills than they are at tech, which one do you think is easier to balance in the workplace these days for you?
Go ahead, Michael. That's all yours.
So there were a couple different things there, but yes, I would say that the person who's 5% better in the people skills is going to be able to accomplish more, as long as, assuming they have a base level of competency, that knowing a little bit more about how to write the code versus being able to get things done in a group. That's where I tend to over index that's the magic sauce right there, the special sauce right there.
When you look at it, Derek, you really want to understand that, okay, if I come into this situation and they need X, Y, and Z from me, and X and Y are very personal soft skills about the dynamic team. Can you fit in? Are you communicating correctly? The technical, they'll find somebody to do the technical. If they don't like to deal with you, talk to you, or communicate with you, and you can do the technical, they're not going to want to work with you. And so the emotional intelligence is really about being able to read the room, understand where that person needs for you to be, and understand what they need for you to accomplish outside of the technical, because a lot of that drives business. Technical can be replaced. Culture, that's tough. And I'm sure Michael can tell you the culture at Kroger has to be along a certain line, because they need to keep the talent. They need to keep people like Michael, and Michael's not going to stand for 3 strikes in an environment and not being happy. And no talented developer or IT person is. That's the glorious thing about this industry. That's a part of it, is we're forcing a work-life balance based on capability and understanding. And if you're capable in technical and in people skills, that is extremely desirable. Michael, am I right on some of that?
Absolutely. That's a powerful combination.
No one is more important than the other. They're both equally important because both of them have the equal impact on the business, to put it quite simply. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Annette, Monroe, William, Tyler, Selena,
I think Tom has his hand raised.
Tom, go right ahead. I got you.
Oh yeah, thanks. So I noticed, I don't know if you can speak to this or not, Michael. If you can't, that's fine. I noticed that Kroger has been buying up a lot of tech companies. They're a lot bigger on the technical side than I thought, at least quite a few, and I don't know the names. And then I also noticed I'm a coach up here for Division I sports, so I had to I was kind of, I don't want to say forced, but it was in my best interest to get my COVID shot for the school district. And I noticed they were very heavy on, they administered everything with our COVID vaccines up here. So can you talk to that side of their tech industry and how they're growing and what they're doing and those side of the projects at all?
We're investing extremely heavily in the technology side of our business, whether that's partnerships with companies like Ocado, who runs these incredible fulfillment centers that are extremely robotic, or there's a company we partner with called Neuro, and they are doing little autonomous vehicles that will deliver groceries to address to each house and that kind of thing. But yeah, there was a second part to your question that I feel like I'm missing there. Oh, the COVID. Yes, the COVID shot. So we have been working extremely hard on making sure that we get the vaccine distributed through our organization, through our pharmacies and little clinics and all that kind of thing. And actually had a friend he's been working his butt off to make sure that that system is rock solid and able to deliver well for Kroger. Does that answer your question, Tom?
Yeah, appreciate it. I mean, so are there any other sides that are growing besides that? Because I mean, when people think of Kroger, they only think of food. So I was just curious about that, you know?
Our technology division is growing by leaps and bounds. We have we are trying to fill more openings and grow faster. It grows really quickly, to be perfectly honest. There's a lot of awesome transformation happening in the technology portion of Kroger right now. Digital or customer technology led, this kind of product led transformation where we're trying to have empowered product teams. So my team, SEO, for example, we kind of set our own path. We're not told by some, a business person up there, like, you will do this thing. It's, you need to deliver these outcomes. How you and your team figure out how you're going to deliver these outcomes for the business. And that's really amazing, because a lot of times those people that are closest to the ground on those features, on those aspects of the business, can have incredible insights into how best to do that.
What's crazy about Kroger is, if you know anything about Kroger, you know they spun off 8451. 8451 is purely data and technology, and that's what they do. And that's a business that they're getting to survive on its own outside of Kroger, which tells you how much they understand. We can't keep this in house. We've got to have a dedicated team of specialists to carry us through this part of it. And, one of our, Tom, you met Heinrich. Heinrich was tasked with making ClickList happen. Think about that. He led hundreds of developers along a path to make mobility and ordering possible, and to understand what's going to happen with that data, how to organize it and give it value. He teaches the soft skills and EQ in our boot camp. He has direct experience with what's required. It's crazy what's happening right now in technology and what's going on with these career boot camps, whether it's data analytics, business analyst, coding, Java, or .NET. All of these things are growing, and Michael, I would imagine you don't see any of this stopping anytime soon.
No, I definitely, if anything, this past year has accelerated our move into technology, not just in Kroger, but in the world at large. We've had to. It's just the way the world moves.
other people and competitors are doing things that you have to keep up with, and certain things you have to get in front of and be the leader in. And that's what's required in technology today. And that's why there's a demand for developers. Because I mean, how many developers does Kroger have right now? What, 500 plus?
If you talk across all of KT, I believe it's in the thousands.
I mean, think about that. Like, listen, Procter and Gamble about 5 years ago stopped selling toilet paper. They have a lot of data. They have a lot of information. It's crazy. And there's so much need. And it's not just need for somebody that can come in and punch keys, which is why Max's boot camp is around. It's about having the right people who understand how to work in a dynamic team and be able to punch the keys. There's so many levels to it. And Michael, we're at 7:02, so I'm going to thank all of our guests for joining us this evening. You're more than welcome to send us questions, and we'll pass those along to Michael, and we will definitely have him back again. I want to be respectful of his time this evening. You've been willing to share your evening with us, and I greatly appreciate it. So thank you to everyone who has joined our conversation for tonight. Thank you to Denise Bartik, the owner of Max Technical Training, that gives us the capability for this platform to be able to talk to people like Michael and share this information. I want to make sure to thank Michael, our guest, and you can catch him at TN Tech if you're invited. Michael, if you'd like to take the last few minutes here and help people understand TN Tech, your meetup group, how to get connected, I think that would be great. And you can also join Michael for the Cincinnati Software Craftsmanship Meetup. Their next meeting, I believe, is on April 7th, if I'm correct.
That's correct.
And you can meet them on April 7th for their intro to application and architecture scalability. So again, these are detailed concepts that live in your world, and they're living in your world and want to connect you with more information. And then you'll also be able to join Max and Max All Access at the end of next month. We've not announced our guest yet, but Michael, thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for letting us ask these questions and give this exposure to our guests. I think it's wonderful. It's some of the most fun I get to have with Max. But tell us about your upcoming events. How do people get connected with TN Tech? And then we'll go ahead and close it down.
So I'll start with software craftsmanship because that's the easy one. You can find us on LinkedIn or meetup.com. And I can actually share some links with you after the fact, Dustin, if you'd like. Yes, our next meetup is on the 7th. It's going to be great. I think it'll be our best ever. And then the next one, as he said, it's application architecture and scalability. And then after that, there's another one I'm really excited about, which is conducting humane code reviews with Adrian Tack. And I'm really looking forward to that. As far as TN Tech, it's just a little chat that I run on a weekly basis, not every week, but almost every week. And anyone's welcome to attend. All you have to do is send me your email address and I'll get you signed up. Some weeks we have a featured guest, other weeks we'll have a topic. Some weeks we don't have either, but usually we'll have either a featured guest or a topic. And it's just a nice way to chat and connect and learn more about technology. That just came out of a desire of mine during the pandemic. I was really missing that interpersonal connection, and I wanted to kind of create that. And I've been really happy with the way that's gone. And then also want to point out, coming up in October, super excited. We're planning to be back in person for Momentum Developer Conference, which I think is going to be incredible. So that'll be our third Momentum Developer Conference. Super excited about that.
And we'll definitely make sure to get all of our guests that information and share out anything that Michael has going on to anybody that's joined us today. And Michael, you've been fantastic. And for everyone that has been with us, Max All Access is really our effort to take people that are successful in IT, that are forging the IT community in the Cincinnati area, and give them some insight. Here's how you do things. This is what you need to pay attention to. And right now, Michael is on the forefront of forging what the IT community is in Cincinnati, and he'll have his fingerprint on it for the next year. So, Michael, thank you for your effort. Thank you for your willingness to participate in our event. And I really appreciate it. Thank you, Tom, Julie, Shashank, Dana, Kevin, Tyler, William, Monroe, Annette, Selena, Sarucci, Matthew, Andrea, Will, Randy, Derek. I appreciate all of you taking time out of your evening to be a part of this event for us. We'll be back next month, and we will definitely have Michael back again. So thank you very much for your time, your insight, and your effort and energy going into this community. And everybody on this video call, this virtual, I believe, is a part of it. And hopefully, we're growing the next capable people that are going to carry on what it is you're trying to do. So thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you for joining us for Max All Access. Michael, I really appreciate you being a part of this, and I will have you back again.
Thank you, Dustin. Have a great night. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.